Welcome to the New York Business Leaders Podcast, presented by the Coyle Group. We interview the most interesting and influential business leaders in New York and hear their stories of success, challenges, and lessons learned while building their businesses and personal brands. New episodes drop weekly, so please be sure to subscribe to get updates in your favorite stream. Without further delay, here's your host of the New York Business Leaders Podcast, Gordon Coyle.
Welcome back to the New York Business Leaders Podcast. I'm your host, Gordon Coyle. In this week's episode, I speak with Sharif El-Gamal. Sharif is the chairman and CEO of Soho Properties, a privately held real estate development and investment firm here in New York. Sharif's latest project is the completion of the Margaritaville Resort in Times Square, a $400 million project built during COVID and in the time of turmoil. Parrot Heads rejoiced, and USA Today rated this resort as the #1 best hotel for 2021. In the works for 2022 is a luxury condo project in Tribeca, 45 Park Place. Check out sohoproperties.com to see some more of Sharif's projects completed as well as planned. I have to say that Sharif has an endless supply of energy, really high energy. He's big on New York as the center of the universe and very positive on the future of real estate in New York and beyond. I think you're really going to enjoy this conversation. If you have an interesting story that you'd like to tell on this podcast, please reach out and let's chat. You can reach me at gbcoyle@thecoylegroup.com. Thanks. Now, on to the show. Hey everyone, I'm Gordon Coyle. Welcome back to the New York Business Leaders Podcast. Today, I'm really happy to have Sharif El-Gamal on the phone with me. He's driving, he's multitasking. He assures me that he's not going to have any problems driving and talking and podcasting at the same time. Sharif is the chair and CEO of Soho Properties. He's got some interesting projects we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to ask him if he would just spend a couple of minutes introducing himself and his company and what he does. So Sharif, you want to take it from here?
Well, good morning, Gordon, and very honored and excited to be on your podcast this morning. Thank you for having me, and good morning to your listeners. I am the founder and CEO of Soho Properties. We are a real estate developer, investor, and owner of real estate. The company was founded in 2003. We are an asset agnostic investor, and we have had success across multiple asset classes and across executing multiple strategies around building real estate, buying, repositioning real estate, and all of the above. We've successfully executed several $1 billion worth of transactions. Our core focus has been geographically New York and the 5 boroughs. We have started spreading our wings, and we are looking at executing, acquiring assets in resort and leisure markets with a new focus this year around the Caribbean. And I'm also a philanthropist. My big claim to fame was around a project that I announced about 10 years ago that garnered me global notoriety and interest. I'm still Mr. Nobody, but I got a lot of publicity for that one. And I'm building an Islamic museum and a sanctuary that got labeled the Ground Zero Mosque about 10 years ago. And I've also built a synagogue. I think I'm the first Muslim in New York who's built a synagogue. So that also goes into my philanthropic cap of feathers. I'm a father. I'm a servant, I'm a seeker, and just waking up every day and swinging for the fences.
That's fantastic. And you're an ultimate, by that description, an ultimate multitasker as well.
I am. I have, due to my insatiable appetite for success, I just find ways to squeeze more out of minutes and out of hours than others do. And ironically, I've become quite good at it. I have a speed, and my speed is go. So I'm constantly moving fast, thinking fast. I don't know if that's to my detriment or or to my success. And I guess time will only tell.
That's fantastic. So as a developer, it seems a bit unique that you also have a fund behind you. Is that correct?
We do not have a fund behind us. We
Okay.
do asset-specific deals.
Okay.
But we, every deal is capitalized individually. But you must be a fly on my wall because we've been talking a lot about that this year, about starting our first fund.
Great. Let's jump into Margaritaville. That seems to be a pretty exciting topic. Tell us about that project, which is in Times Square. I've read a little bit about it, but I'd love to hear how that got developed and how that's progressing for you.
Margaritaville Resort Times Square is the latest hospitality addition to the center of the universe, Times Square. We've built an unbelievable ecosystem that really is an ode to the Jimmy Buffett brand, to the Margaritaville brand, and has emerged as the flagship to their portfolio of companies. It's one hell of a ride that I went through. Acquired the real estate in 2014 from the Parsons School of Design. It was one of the most complicated acquisitions and one of the most complicated projects that I've ever executed, or that my company has ever executed. It's a testament to simple basics in life of never ever giving up. There were so many twists and turns before we opened up the asset in July of last year. We couldn't have, we built it during COVID. We opened literally a week after New York opened up in 2021. July 4th was our kind of soft opening weekend. We ended the year last year as getting an accolade from USA Today and getting recognized as the #1 new hotel in the country, which was extremely humbling and, just a really sweet moment, realizing that, when you persevere and when you struggle and, when you wake up every day and pick up your sword and your shield and just keep doing the right thing and working with integrity, good things come your way. And it's 234 rooms. There's 5 different food and beverage outlets. We've got a 30+ foot Statue of Liberty holding a Margaritaville glass. So if you don't want to go to Ellis Island and see the Statue of Liberty, just come to Times Square and we'll sort you out. So it's a super cool ecosystem that we built, and we also held last year for almost, I think it was 4 months, the #1 position on TripAdvisor.
Wow.
Which is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So we closed out the year #1 on TripAdvisor, #1 by USA Today, beating out big projects. I mean, we beat out a $4.5 billion resort project that opened up in Vegas, a 4 Seasons. We really, thank God. But it was a testament to the team, to the brand. John Coyle, who's the maverick behind, Margaritaville Enterprises, and Jimmy Buffett's partner, has really built an institution, just a lifestyle brand unlike anything that exists in the market today. And I really think that they're at an inflection point and just getting started. So it's really cool that we recognize that quickly and we're able to cement a partnership with them. And we'd love for everybody to come and check it out. Just drop my name. Just say that you're friends with Sharif when you come by.
And that'll get you a little extra tequila in your margarita.
I don't know. It'll get you something, man. It will get you something.
Well,
say
that
you're
sounds
friends
great.
with Sharif.
So it was an easy build, is what you're telling us. So in the middle of Times Square, dealing with the Department of Buildings of the city of New York during COVID, it was just a layup shot, right? Easy peasy.
It was one of the most difficult executions that I think we experienced in not just for me, but as humanity. I mean, we literally built this during the heart of COVID. We were mobilizing workers, getting buses, so that people felt safe, so that their families felt safe. We were just thinking outside of the box. And, when you take high octane debt which is what we do for our projects, there are no excuses, no war stories. You've got to get it done. Um, and and that's what we did. I mean, we just got it done. We just no excuses, no war stories.
Fantastic. Another project I want to just bring up is 45 Park Place, which is a luxury condo development in Tribeca. Is that completed or is that still in the works?
No, that is still in the works.
Okay.
We are in the process of getting that project restarted. We finished the hardest part of construction, which is the superstructure. So we've erected a 700-foot tower, which you could see, just about from every single perspective downtown. So that's up, and we're about 60% complete. Our objective is to get that project restarted this year, and we're really doing a product and a condo offering that's going to be unlike anything that exists in New York. We've got an incredible branding story and lifestyle story. It's funny because Margaritaville is an ode to the redneck Riviera, and it's probably one of the most democratic brands that exists, and unpretentious brands. And the minute that you walk in, there's a huge flip-flop. There's a 25-foot flip-flop the minute that you walk in. And here, on the other hand, with 45 Park Place, we're building a tower that is going to essentially cater to the true 1% of the 1%. And boy, do we have a story that's going to be announced around that project.
Sounds interesting. The renderings look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. That's one of the fun things about developing, and one of the intentions that I made when I, got started in business is that I didn't want to do cookie cutter projects. I didn't just want to build rectangles and squares. I really wanted to challenge the design process, understand the responsibility that you have as a developer when you're bringing something into a submarket or a neighborhood. You have a higher responsibility because your project will last there for up to hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've always pushed the envelope when it comes to the design and when it comes to the building of the project. I always drive the architects and the engineers a little crazy because I just don't compromise on certain things. That's how magic is made.
Mm-hmm. And historically, have most of your developments been residential or have they been commercial?
Yeah, we've done a little bit of everything. We've done office, we've done condo, residential, multifamily. This is our first hotel that we opened up last year. We've done retail. So again, we're asset agnostic. We're looking obviously more of a function of what we call in our business an equity multiple. How much money can we make on our money? We're IRR driven, internal rate of return driven. And so we're investors at the end of the day, leveraging real estate as a platform, to ultimately achieve outsized returns.
Got it. And maybe you could kind of comment a little bit about the world of real estate development today. I mean, COVID added certainly a complexity to it, but urban development is always going to be complex. Can you give us maybe a little flavor of some of the ins and outs of commercial real estate development?
It's a great question. It really depends on where you're developing, but I think that the rules are the playbook and the rules are very similar all around. It's important to, again, establish relationships with the right city officials, with the right people that are, custodians of getting you your permits, custodians of understanding what you can build. You also want to really understand the layout of the topography of the submarket, the surrounding buildings, understanding how your project is going to impact the neighborhood. There's a lot of feasibility studies and a lot of homework that you need to do when you're getting started. And that's a lot of fun, candidly, when you're going through that stuff of really developing and envisioning the future, because developers are typically visionaries. They have this ability to dream and make it a reality. And it also requires a good understanding of the capital markets, and how do the capital markets look to different strategies and different development um, uh, different development projects. Whether it's a residential project, whether it's an office project, whether it's industrial. Right now, the topic du jour is industrial and life science. Since the disruption that we've had, obviously, over the last 10 years in our consumer habits around retail, the industrial sector is just booming right now, nationally and globally. If you're able to figure out where to put a last mile distribution center, and find the right tenant, that's kind of one of the main development businesses that's right now really booming. And obviously, with the challenges that we had in this pandemic, life sciences have exploded right now, around being able to kind of start studying diseases and coming up with scientists. Those, I think, are two of the most two of the most important development strategies that are kind of being executed around the country right now with great success. Multifamily and rental product, we're at a scale. The population nationally is growing, and there's a true scarcity around all multifamily. And so there's a big opportunity around that. It's almost a little bit of a recession-proof business if it's executed right, and if you're able to tap into different incentives, whether they're on a federal or state level. And I really think that right now is a prime opportunity to buy hotels. I mean, I love real estate, so I just think that it depends on where you are and what's your ability to attract capital, or what's your ability, what's your financial wherewithal. And it, just as much as it involves establishing the development strategy, whether it's going through the design drawings or putting together the various teams to execute your vision, you're also on a parallel track. You have to build, the financial architecture that goes into these projects, knowing how are you gonna put all the pieces together, from the debt, the equity, if you're going to layer any mezz or preferred products in there. So it's essentially playing three-dimensional chess in the future on a couple of different boards. That's what development is.
Yeah, and prior to getting on this call with you, I was in a meeting and there was some real estate folks in it, and we were talking about how the media has totally drubbed the New York real estate market. And the general consensus in that meeting is that things are really very positive. There's a lot of tech moving in. You mentioned biotech. We've seen the development of a lot of biotech centers in New York, especially on around the Cornell University campus in Roosevelt Island. What is your general sense of real estate in New York, kind of in this quasi post-pandemic state of where we are today and what you see coming down the road?
New York always comes back bigger, better, and stronger after every crisis, after every event that I've witnessed in my history of being in New York. And I was born in Brooklyn, and I've been here for a bunch of decades. This is a city that you do not want to bet against. You do not bet against New York. And I think that this is probably one of the greatest times in our history to really buy New York and invest equities, or any forms of investment into the market. We saw what happened after the city kind of opened up in July, and how quickly things were coming back together. The majors and all the blue chip and focusing on tech companies. All companies right now are doubling down on office space, and we're really getting a sense of incredible absorption across everything. Condos are experiencing an unbelievable moment right now on the residential front. There's no inventory. We're setting records every week right now from the sale of condos. Multifamily has completely rebounded to pre-pandemic levels from a vacancy rate and from a price per square foot all across the market. There's no product. So I don't get it. I don't get these naysayers. I don't get these haters. I don't get people are going to get bored with Florida. It's just a function of time. You can't go to Florida for more than a week. You can't. You can go to Florida for a couple of weeks at a time, but then you get antsy and you want to go back and deal with real people. Unless you're going to reinvent yourself or going to, I don't know. I don't understand these naysayers. I can't understand them. I've been coming into the office and working every day since March of 2020. I was out for the first 2 weeks of COVID, and every day waking up and swinging for the fences and just seeing opportunity and doing my part of making sure that my people are coming into the office. And I'm going to make a prediction that Dr. Fauci is going to tell us to take the masks off by March 1st, God willing.
You heard it here first, folks. Well, I kind of agree that, like, the old expression that haters are going to hate, it gives the media something to do and give people like this negative vibe that they have to worry about something when underlying it, there's a tremendous amount of energy to go back to work, whether they're young people looking for that connection at work or older folks like us that are just, we want to get back to normal and we want to socialize. We want to do business. We want to roll up our sleeves. We want to get in there, like you say, swing for the fences. That's what life is about for a lot of folks that are in the entrepreneurial space, the development space, the success space. So all very positive stuff. I think we can ignore the media when it comes to that. And I think what you mentioned just earlier is that disruption usually causes some sort of rebirth or regenerative action or activity. And I think that's what we're going to start to see or have seen already. I mean, Margaritaville is an example. I mean, who would have thought about building a resort hotel like that in the middle of Times Square during the pandemic and then being a #1 hotel nationwide? That's an amazing feat. It just is.
It's all about recognizing when opportunities come. And I have a saying that, opportunities don't go away. They go to other people. They go to people that recognize them. And it can come knocking on your door, but if you don't take advantage of it, it's not going to go away. Somebody else is going to grab that opportunity. And right now is a time of opportunities, especially around what I like to call the country of Manhattan. We have one of the largest economies in the world. We are one of the largest employers in the world. I think I read a statistic somewhere that it could take up to 85 years to eat in all our restaurants. Okay. So from all the things that we offer, whether, from living, from working, from playing, there's no place in the world that has the offerings that New York has. And we're talking of a place that has and will continue to attract global talent. That's the spark of it. That's the heart of the engine, is the talent that come here, the dreamers that come here. People want to be here. People want to be in New York. People want to start in that small little tenement apartment, little studio, or that room that they get in here and get started here. This is what the city's made about. The city will slap you around. The city will beat you up. But once you understand how to wrestle with the city, you will just fall in love with it and realize that you can make your dreams come true here. And that's what separates New York from the rest of the world.
Yeah, for sure. And having had kids that went through that sort of like, oh, I got to move to Manhattan. That's where my future is. And nieces and nephews and friends of kids. And it's been the way it's been forever. I'm sure that our parents had desired to, or parents' friends went to the city when they were young because that was where everything was happening, whether it was in finance, advertising, marketing, entertainment. I mean, just about every industry New York is the place to be for that. So, and I don't think it's going to change anytime soon.
100%. 100%.
Let's shift gears and just talk a little bit about the investment side of your business. You mentioned something a minute ago that opportunities just don't go away. They're just not, some people just don't take advantage of them. And I think that that's kind of the same way with investment funds and investment dollars. There's always going to be investment dollars in the marketplace. It's just who is willing to take those dollars on and return capital to those investors at a rate of return that they want to see. So maybe you can comment on how you attract capital into your funds when you're developing a project, if you don't mind speaking about that for a minute.
Sure. We have, we've been very blessed. We've been in business for, almost 20 years, actually 19 years at this point. And we have a track record of executing and returning, incredible returns to our investors, since we started in this business. So obviously it all sprouted through, friends and family, and the network has obviously grown tremendously since then. We have several hundred families that co-invest in our deals. And typically they get that first call or that first email or that first invitation when we're putting out a deal. One of the things that I've been trying to understand, and I feel like we're getting a little slow to the game here, is really starting to promote what we do online and just allowing more investors access directly to what we're doing through different channels. So we have been robustly studying that space of how do we start promoting our business online, because that is the future. There's no ifs, ands, or buts that the way that we are going to do business is changing by the minute, and that all the various applications that exist online today, and all the different ways that we're able to interconnect with one another, and promote and introduce our offerings or our investment ideas, is something that we as an organization, are going to figure out how to start sharing them. And this will be the year that we will allow people access into, direct offerings of what we're doing. But historically, it's been, our specific network, friends invite friends, investors are inviting investors. The circle just keeps growing, and it's a little bit like building a snowman. We have obviously different levels of risk associated with our deals. So it also depends on the appetite of the risk that an investor is willing to take. So it's different ways that we are appealing and connecting with our investors.
So are you talking about trying to bundle hundreds or thousands of smaller investors into a vehicle that could gain access to a fund like yours or a project like yours that otherwise would be excluded?
100%. We have two new, very significant projects that we're putting together. Two very different strategies. One which is, kind of a wholesale bulk buy of units that we're going to be buying in Nassau in the Caribbean. Probably the best and most important resort right now in the Caribbean. And so, that's a core opportunity. And we want to give access to people to invest in that. I think that it's such a fun project, and it's part of our vision to start expanding into leisure markets, because I think that with all this pent up demand and all this, all the people that have been sitting in their caves for the last 2 years, not traveling, not seeing their loved ones. People want to go out and explore. And I think that over the next, 3 to 5, 7 years, there's going to be incredible travel and leisure that is going to happen. And we want to invest in those markets.
It sounds like on the investor level, it's the democratization there's just kind of a new word being bantered about, the democratization of investment funds. And we've seen that in some of our clients where they've, whether it's a hedge fund that wants to attract smaller investors that normally couldn't get into a fund because they weren't accredited, but this is a great opportunity for small investors to kind of play the big boy game.
Right. And get direct access that traditionally they would only get into these types of offerings is really through the public markets, where it's not even really a real direct, you're just participating as another stock or another bond. You're not getting the real and the full benefits of all the bells and whistles that come with investing in real estate. And so this is giving an investor a direct opportunity to partake into an investment.
Sounds like an interesting concept. And I'm sure that there's a tremendous number of hurdles to jump with FINRA and the SEC and all the other regulatory agencies that have their fingers in that pie. That's got to be a tremendous challenge.
100%. 100%.
So, just for the viewers and listeners, we do prepare for conversations, and Sharif's folks have kind of given me some bullet points we wanted to go over. And I think we've gone through most of those, but I wanted to ask if there was any other open kind of questions, issues, thoughts, or ideas that you wanted to kind of talk about.
I feel we've had a really good conversation, you and I. I feel we've touched on some really good points. I want to challenge everybody to go book a Broadway play and come and stay at Margaritaville. I think that come and check out our museums, come back and check out the art shows, just come back and reconnect with the city that never sleeps. Try one of the restaurants. I just feel that New York right now needs some TLC. It needs some love. And everybody, this is the global capital of the world. It needs everybody's love right now. I think that everybody should also think about how to get into, direct real estate investing. How do you get into direct real estate investing, whether it's through Soho Properties or whether it's through somebody else that take that risk. Don't overthink it. Get involved in the game and start reaping the benefits of investing directly into real estate. It's a little illiquid, but don't put your whole portfolio. Put 10 to 15% of your allocation into illiquid real estate and watch it grow. That's how the greatest wealth has been generated and built across the history of the world. It's not just in this country, but in the world. The wealthiest have always gotten wealthy by buying real estate. So get out there and learn. And I think the last thing that that we all have to start thinking about, young and old, is about Web 3.0 and how it's going to affect us and how it's going to affect our businesses. And we are starting. We have been getting involved with a new tenant of ours, which is going to be a physical iteration of you being able. It's a gaming space that we're building in Times Square, but it's going to give you the ability to fully interact and understand Web 3.0 from what is this metaverse? What are these NFTs? What are all these words that we keep hearing about right now? And a lot of us, didn't buy Google when it first came out or buy Apple when it first came out. This is your opportunity to not miss out. And I think that everybody should allocate, whether it's 15 or 30 minutes a day, and just learn about this new world that is coming very, very quickly upon us. I think, Gordon, I've said a lot today. You've been so generous by having me on your platform. And this has been a lot of fun.
Same here. Before you go, is there a place where people can follow you, or if they wanted to reach out and connect or be in your network, how would they do that? How's the best way?
My email is the best way, and it's Sharif, my first name, SHARIF, at SohoProperties.com. I live on that portal. And I'm Meet Sharif, at Meet Sharif, MEET Sharif. Still brand new to this whole social media thing, but diving in head first. That's another portal that we're actively building out right now. And I would be delighted to connect with like-minded individuals. And don't forget to say that you're friends with Sharif when you come to the resort.
I love the promotion. Fantastic. Sharif, it's been great having you on. I appreciate the time you gave us today. It was a good conversation, very positive and energetic, all great things. And for anybody else who's watching or listening, I'll have all of that contact info and some of the social links that kind of got caught up in a little bit of the bandwidth connection here in the show notes, so that you can reach out to Sharif or to me. In fact, if you'd like to reach out to me, and if you have an interesting story that you'd like to tell on the New York Business Leaders Podcast, I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, Sharif, thanks very much. Have a great day.
Gordon, thank you. Thank
All
you,
right.
guys. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye now.
That's it for this week's episode of the New York Business Leaders Podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. In the meantime, find more interviews and resources at nybusinessleaders.com.